how do I open up a limited company? Am I VAT registered? What do I have to do to have to get an accountant?
How to embrace those features. Everyone is beautiful in their different ways. But how you can bring, those natural beauty.
Accentuate their beauty. Yeah.
Some people want it natural. Some people want to follow the fashion.
Controversial question here. What do you feel is better, microneedling or derma roll?
Right.
Hello and welcome back to our podcast, The Aesthetic Edge, where our aim is to give you the edge over your competitors and give you the edge of innovation when it comes to aesthetics. Now today, guys, I have a really lovely guest and we're changing things up a little bit. Now you're normally used to having lots of guests who have a lot of experience in the aesthetics, or people who are in it for 5, 10 or 15 years. And that's all well and good and you can learn a lot from that. But actually it'd be really interesting, we feel, for you guys to listen to someone who's just started their career and to listen to what they're feeling about this industry. So today I have the lovely Hala who's joining us today. Hala is a pharmacist by background and she did her course 8 months ago. Hala, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure we're going to have a really interesting conversation. I'm really excited to hear your insights about what this field has done for you. So let's start off with a little bit of background as to who you are.
So yeah, my name is Hala. I'm a pharmacist. As you said, you have brought on your podcast previously a lot of experienced people. I'm starting this all new. So I'm a pharmacist. I work full-time as a pharmacist, but I started this career as a part-time to see how it goes. And then it depends on what direction it goes, then we can move forward in life. So I worked in pharmacy for a long time. I worked in as well in writing articles in magazines, in social media. As well, I got a national rep role as well. As a pharmacist, I represent other pharmacists. Yeah, I've done so many things in my career. I joined the UN Women as well group recently.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, more into women in pharmacy. So I had many sort of titles, like the very first pharma face. So I was so much into the pharmacy career. And I thought, why don't I try to start that aesthetic journey and see how it goes? So that's how I started all my stuff, and that's who I am.
Excellent, lovely. Well, obviously you're very experienced. It sounds like you've done really well in pharmacy. So I know you decided to go into aesthetics, but what was the reasoning behind it? Why did you decide to go into aesthetics?
So I'm a person that likes beauty. Always when I started my pharmacy career, I always do my makeup, my hair. So this is who I am. I like fashion. So with aesthetics, I like the beauty always. It's not necessarily like aesthetics to make someone look, it depends like how to embrace those features. Everyone is beautiful in their different ways. But how you can bring, those natural beauty.
Accentuate their beauty. Yeah.
Some people want it natural. Some people want to follow the fashion. But it really depends on every single person's preference and sort of personality. So that's why I thought maybe I like to be like looking into that. I like to look after my as well skin, my face, my stuff like that. So I said, why don't I do it and then learn about it more, because I like it. I like it as a, as a hobby, not like as a career. And then I went into that. And we do as well injectables in our career in pharmacy. Of course. We do travel clinics, we do use needles and stuff. So it's not like something we don't do, but this is different because we have to learn about the anatomy of the face and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you do have wonderful skin. I'm sure our listeners would be very intrigued to find out what your skin routine is.
Yeah, so with skin routine, normally, sometimes I change as well. I don't stick to one product. So I try to choose different products, but I rely a lot on the microneedling.
Okay.
Because I feel microneedling, like sometimes before summertime, I do like in wintertime around 6 treatments. And that I feel like it embraces the face and the collagen in the face. I mean, I'm not a big fan of peels. Some people are, some people aren't. But I prefer like sometimes more to do with something that will regenerate your skin. It depends. Some people do need the peels. And
like it depends on the indication you're trying to treat. Yeah.
And sometimes people might go for laser as well, skin lasers and something like that. So I like to look after my skin. And I use as well products, different products. Sometimes in summer, I change my routine. Because in winter you can use, if you want, retinol products and stuff, but in summer you have to change it because you don't want to increase the pigmentation of the face. So I like the beauty of the face and stuff. It's not just about the aesthetic and injectables, as well about the skincare. So we have to combine 2 of these things to be able to do the treatments. Yeah.
Oh, I always say that skincare is like a marathon, and coming to your injector for a treatment like Sunacos or Profilo is like a sprint. You need the best of both in order to get the really good results for your skin.
Yeah, as well, we have the polynucleotide.
Absolutely.
We have different things on the market, the Profilo and all those things. So it depends where people want to go and what their face can hold and what age they're in and what works and what doesn't work. So we have to look in all of that. Some people need to go as well to surgery, for example. So we have to look at the per person, per treatment. So it's different from person to person.
Do you have a particular favorite when it comes to skin injectables?
Injectables, I mean, you know, we have the anti-wrinkle treatments if people really needs it. Then we go for the facial, which is the polynucleotide skin boosters, PRPs, all that stuff. So I know how to do all of these things.
But which one do you prefer?
I prefer for now, for my skin, I like the microneedling a lot.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned, yeah.
Because I do it on regular basis.
You see a good result with microneedling. Yes. I have to say, what controversial question here, what do you feel is better, microneedling or derma-roll?
I think so, microneedling.
You like microneedling? Yeah.
Because the derma roll, like, I know people can do it manually, but the other one, because it's already doing the turns. And
you're doing probably more injections or more needle penetrations with a microneedling pneumatic pen. But with derma-roll, I like derma-roll because I think it gives more access to the average consumer. You don't have to pay hundreds of... Obviously, for us, it's very good as a business. But for my patients, I do something slightly different.
Where I do it at home. You mean.
Exactly. I teach them. I might charge them to teach them how to do derma-rolling properly, but then they can use that themselves for decades to come.
Like to put like
of course, and that's why coming to a practitioner like us is much easier. Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of your background as a pharmacist, what skills do you think you developed as a pharmacist that translate over to aesthetics?
So before I went into aesthetics, I had to be as well more confident with how I use, like when we do injectables, travel clinics, all those things, because, you know, you have to be as well able to use the needles and how to drain. For example, if you want to mix up liquids, so you have to have like good hands as well, because it's important.
Good manual dexterity. Yeah.
And then you have to have as well a background, because if you don't know how your face is, where the anatomy is, so I needed to as well get ready for that. So I had to basically implement all my strengths in pharmacy first, which I became a prescriber as well, which helped me a lot in my career. And then I went into the derma-medical, where I done the training, which is an amazing training. I took the complete clinical package, and I learned so much. And I didn't just learn in the training classes as well. We went to the derma hubs. We learned about the complications, and that's where things are not easy. You need to know about the complications as well for every single thing that happens.
Absolutely.
Because if you've done a treatment and something happens and you didn't act fast, then the implication is going to get worse in the future. Not future, I mean, it's a very short period where you have to act fast. So this is why it's important as well to have a supporting network.
Couldn't agree more.
And I grew that supporting network as well before I wanted to go into this sort of career, because you have to be a bit strong when you want to go into this to know all the implications and contraindications and everything.
And how did you build this network? How did you find people within the industry?
So I think the derma-medical was a good training academy, because when we joined them, we had like a WhatsApp group, for example, which is 24 hours beeping. And if we have any complication as well, we just beep it on and someone straight away will help to see what we need to do. Or they can as well support you. The senior people on the WhatsApp group can come and support you. So there is a lot of things can help you. You need those tools, because if you don't have those tools, then you'll be in a big trouble. I have some as well, doctor, who are my friends, who are in this industry as well. Like if I need something, I just buzz them and they can help you.
I think our top execs actually are in that group. People like Dr. Amrit, Dr. Harriet is also in there.
Dr. Harriet is always there.
Yeah, she's always there to help out. I mean, she's one of my go-tos as well. Whenever I have a complicated case, I feel like I have that community as well. And it's so lovely to hear that you guys have that too. Because when you're starting out, we were just talking about this earlier, it's a really lonely field. And at Derma Medical, we encourage you to even become colleagues with the people that you're learning with, so that you have people that you can bounce off of who are in the same stage of career that you're at. So when you first got started and you decided to make the decision to come to Derma Medical, you must have seen some other courses and other course providers. What made you make the decision to go with Derma Medical over the other course providers?
So I did a research, of course. You know, you cannot go somewhere without doing some research and different places and different things. There's a lot on the market. But
Absolutely.
With Derma Medical, I felt it's more like, it has like a structure. You're having like a complete training. You're having as well the, as I said earlier, you have as well the after you do the training, where you go. So you have as well the people who are mentoring you as well as you go along. Because if you don't have that mentoring, supporting group, then you won't be able to continue. But as well, a lot of people were like my friends, my colleagues who did the training were always like as well advertising them. It's word of mouth.
Yes.
So that's how, and I've seen them in everywhere, in the pharmacy show, in all the.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, so that's why it makes you feel like comfortable, because there's a lot of people like in that sort of derma medical training academy. So that's why it makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's an academy. You don't feel like it's only one person. There's a lot of doctors as well.
And I feel like a lot of courses, it's almost like a transaction. You pay us, you come for a day, and then you leave, and then that's it, that's done. But like we were just discussing, you have that continuity of care, that support that you just don't get in other places, and you need that. It's not like you can just do a course or a 1-day course or a 4-day course and then be an expert and not have anyone to refer to. You need that support because there'll be a complication that rises inevitably. It happens. Who do you go to?
That's the same thing in pharmacy, for example. If we need as well, like something where, you know, we've done a training within the company we work with, then you just have a call, you call someone and find advice. So that's the important thing, the after, not just doing the training, is what you can get after the support.
Couldn't agree more. So what have been some of the benefits that you've experienced since going into the world of aesthetics?
The benefits is when you like treat someone, like they came for a treatment, whatever the treatment was, and you make that person feel happy, more happier, like
more confident in themselves.
more confident, more happy. Because like people like to feel confident, like regardless whatever treatment they do, they want to feel confident. And if they had the result they were looking for and they're happy about, they make them feel like happier. And that's why we're looking into to give that satisfaction to people. Because everyone is different, everyone's pathway is different, everyone's appearance is different. So everyone have something they like to work on, and when you do that to someone, whatever it is.
When they have that little niggle, oh, I have this line on my forehead or this bump in my nose, and you sort that out for them, there's no feeling like it.
Yeah, that's it. They feel like, you know, they're happy.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously it's not all rose-tinted, not everything's amazing. There must have been some challenges that you faced when you first got started as an aesthetic practitioner. Walk us through what some of those challenges were.
So the challenges are, when you want to start, there's so many things you need to look into. It's not just like you started and that's it. You have to sort out your insurance. I mean, luckily I became a prescriber because I had that competency when I went to the derma medical as well. So yeah, there are so many steps you have to do. If you want to do a website, if you want to build your network, if you want to talk to people, if you want to have clients, if you want to have the system to book in clients, to protect yourself as well, you have everything in the records and all that stuff. So all those small things, if you want to set a company as well, so all of those small things, it's going to be cost as well because you have to do a lot of cost
and learning. You have to learn about it. I remember when I first got started, it's like, how do I open up a limited company? Am I VAT registered? What do I have to do to have to get an accountant? There's a lot of unknowns. So I suppose those are all sort of mini challenges, aren't they?
You cannot understand this unless you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then you see this work, this doesn't work. If you want to rent a place or you want to start somewhere as well, how much you're going to spend, how much you're going to get. And then you have the customers as well, like the people who are coming to see you. How good is your treatment? Because if you give someone a negative, whatever happens, and something negative happened or something had happened to a patient, then you have to deal with it, number one, and try to, you know, deal with the complication.
I think it makes you more worldly as well.
Learn more.
Yeah, you learn more. You have to do things that you would never actually do in any sort of healthcare practitioner job. Like, for example, regardless if you're a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist, you're quite protected and you're basically doing the same role over and over again. You don't have to think about what it's like to open up a company or to manage a different patient or difficult patient because there are protection structures in place for you. Whereas the excitement of learning all of these new skills, being confident and going out into the world and having business meetings and then putting yourself forward for certain roles, these are all things that you don't really learn how to do as a healthcare practitioner. But this opens up so many different doors for you.
And makes you stronger as well.
Yeah.
Because
I couldn't agree
everything
more.
that you build in your hands,
more resilient,
blocks, like you become stronger because you know how to do it from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really important to go through that, to be able to be where you are today, for example, yourself, and how you build yourself through the years. And we all learn as well from each other, because some people say this works, this doesn't work. And this is a lot of learning for me because I'm always learning. Every day I'm learning something new.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I find myself learning things all the time when it comes to this industry. This is one of those industries that is always growing. So some people find that daunting. They want something they just want to be an expert in and nothing's ever going to change. But with medicine and with aesthetics and with longevity, things are always continuously developing. So you're always learning. And if you ever learn a love of learning, like I think so many healthcare practitioners do, this is a perfect field because everything's always changing. Now, I have a bit of a controversial question for you now. I hope you don't mind. Now, some people, and I don't count myself among them, argue that only doctors should be able to do aesthetic treatments like Botox and fillers, not people like nurses or pharmacists. What would you say to these people?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a bold claim. Yes. What would you say?
I I think so as well. Pharmacists should be doing it. And the reason is we get the right training. We are going for the whole training. We get the experience. We work with GPs, with doctors. We become prescribers. So I don't find it, why shouldn't a pharmacist be doing it, for example? Because we are healthcare professionals and we should be in the same sort of category as the doctors and the nurses and everyone doing this sort of treatment.
Okay. Are there any other skills that you feel like a pharmacist by trade has that allows them to become good injectors?
Well, now we're doing so many things in a pharmacy world. I'm not talking about independent prescribers. I'm talking, and most of the pharmacists in the future are going to be independent prescribers. That's the future. But I'm talking now, for example, all the pharmacists know how to deal with all the healthcare, like MOT for someone. We learn about all the medications that we are trained to do.
Some would argue you have a better knowledge of medicines. Yeah.
I mean, even when we went to Derma, we learned about the vascular inclusions, which can happen, but rare if you know how to sort it out. We learned so many things as well, where the anatomy of the face, you can do that and learn more about it as well. So there's nothing can basically allow a pharmacist not to do, aesthetics.
Yeah. And I don't think the question
is... We do
is...
as well injectables, like we do as well, like travel clinic, as I said.
Vaccinations, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Even in COVID, when we were vaccinating the whole community. Yeah. So we did do a lot of stuff.
And I don't think the argument should be whether a doctor does it or a dentist or a pharmacist. I think the real problem is that non-medically qualified people are doing these treatments in the UK.
That's where we have to...
I think, and I think before we go into whether doctors and dentists and nurses or pharmacists should all be able to do it, it's whether a beautician who's done a day course, has no knowledge of anatomy, has no knowledge of how these products work, can go out there, do these sort of treatments, cause complications that they may not necessarily know how to rectify. That is surely a much bigger issue that we need to sort out before deciding which subset of medical practitioners should do it. Surely we should organise whether no medical qualified patients can do this.
Is I have. Will they be able to deal with the complication afterwards? Will they have the right equipment to deal with it? Because sometimes, like, you need,
prescription products. Hyaluronidase is a prescription product. Where are they getting it from?
So where are they going to get that product if no one is going to prescribe it for them? So they always have to be under a supervision of a doctor or someone who's very basically qualified to do the aesthetics.
Absolutely. So I feel like aesthetics is definitely growing.
There is a lot of pharmacists as well in the field.
I was just going to say that. There are a lot more pharmacists coming into this field. Why do you think that is? And do you think we're going to continue with that trend?
Yes, I think so. Whoever have the ambition to do aesthetics, I say go for it. Because if you like it, do what you like in life. Because if you do something that you love in life, it will reward you 10 times or a million times.
No, 100%.
But if you don't like it, you just want to do it for doing it, then I don't think so you will succeed. Because you have to have something like you like. You like doing this thing. If you don't like to do anything in life, you won't succeed. So
couldn't agree more.
You have to have, like, for me, before I started the aesthetic thing, I liked to do my face. I like to do these things. So you have to have the knowledge of it before you start that career.
Do you know what I hear a lot of this? Obviously, you've been a student at Derma Medical, and I've heard a lot of students say to me, "Oh, I'm just a pharmacist, just a nurse. How can I compete with a doctor who's doing these sort of treatments?" Have you heard people talk about this sort of thing? Because I certainly have, and they're putting themselves down. And I don't see why, because I know plenty of nurses.
That's nice you mentioned that.
It's true. I know plenty of nurses. I know plenty of pharmacists who've created really successful businesses, way more successful than, for example, consultant plastic surgeons. Because it doesn't matter what your background qualification is, as long as you're medically qualified, it's about your sense of business acumen. It's about how good you are with patients. It's about how you grow your business. So to those people who say that I'm just a nurse at pharmacist, I find it frankly ridiculous.
I disagree with that.
They have every chance. So you have to believe in yourself, and you can do very well in this career.
As I said, like, you might see my face, for example, and you think I need this, and I might see your face, for example, and say you need this. So everyone is different how they see someone's face, and that's where the artistic is in aesthetics. It's like drawing a picture. Because some people like symmetrical, always like symmetrical faces, always goes nice in camera, and because it's symmetrical. So you might see something nice, the other person might not. So everyone is different as well, and it is an art. And it's not like just I go to this one or this one, it is an art.
It's also the communication skills. Like, I've seen doctors with terrible bedside manner who don't know how to speak to patients. They'll come in and they'll say exactly what you just said. You need teardrop, jawline, everything. And the patient just came in for Botox.
Yeah.
And the patient's thinking, well, this is incredibly rude. I don't feel uncomfortable with this patient. And then that same patient might go to a nurse practitioner, for example, who's very kind, who's very calm, who just gently suggests things rather than demand saying that you need this. And that is the difference between a successful nurse and an unsuccessful doctor, because his communication skills are so incredibly important.
Yeah. And sometimes someone might come with an idea that they want to do a lot of things, and you look at them and say, you don't need it.
Yeah.
For example.
The power of saying no.
Yeah, because you think like you're beautiful, like you don't need everyone is beautiful, but you might say like, you don't need it. Why you want to put something that you don't need?
And that patient will trust you for the rest of their lives, because they will think this particular practitioner does not care about the money. They just want me to look good. The patients I say no to, I say this all the time, the patients I say no to are the ones who stay with me for the rest of their lives, because they know.
The right advice.
Yeah, exactly. So, in terms of advice for a new pharmacist who's thinking about going into aesthetics, what would you say to them?
I say go for it.
Go for it. Yeah. Any top tips, things that you would avoid, things you would do?
Yeah. So top tips is, as I said, I've done my research. I found dermomedical.
Find the right training school.
Happy with it. Even now, when I finished a while back, I'm still happy with it, because you still have the network, which is amazing, because you can talk to any doctor or anyone who will support you 24 hours. So that's number one. Number two, make your research properly in the market, what you want to be, where you're gonna open, where you're gonna start.
Yeah, location plays very important.
All those things.
Absolutely.
If you have support as well in that industry to start with, or you're gonna work with someone or something like that, so just have that sort of idea beforehand. Make sure you're insured.
Yeah, of course.
That's the most important
Don't assume your existing insurance will cover you for aesthetic treatments. You need separate ones.
Insurance. Number one is insurance, because you cannot start anywhere without being insured first. And you have the suppliers where they want to bring their products and stuff, make your research and stuff like that. So there's a big market there. So they have to consider so many things. They want to open a company, they want to do social media, they want to do the website. All those things are important for this business and your customers.
And your customers, absolutely, couldn't agree more. So Hala, in terms of, you're obviously going to be a beacon of light for a lot of pharmacists, because they'll look at you and they'll say, okay, I'm a pharmacist, I can go into this industry, I can be successful. So I think a lot of the listeners might want to contact you to try and find out a little bit more about how you found the entire industry. So is there any way a pharmacist can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so it's so easily. They can find me on LinkedIn when they put my name. I have
Perfect. And your full name is? It's
Hala Jawad. Or they can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Jawad, which is my surname _ Hala, which will put them on the camera later on, on the video later on. And yeah.
Fabulous. And you're happy, and I should probably check, you're happy for them to contact you if they have any questions?
They can follow me, contact me. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to support.
Well, Hala, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a fascinating conversation. I really appreciate your time. And guys, I hope that this was useful for you. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what qualification you have. As long as you're medically qualified, there is nothing stopping you from creating a very successful clinic. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next time.